Grand Rising Loves. This is the altar spread for the collective today. And wait till you hear how cohesive this is. It's such a beautiful spread. And basically, the same message that we've been getting for the collective all along. But I love how it comes through different messengers to deliver the same message, essentially. So nucleus is the sacred geometry that showed up today. And nucleus showed up in the reverse. So in the upright, this talks about you being the center of the universe, that you are container and that which is contained. You are all that is. And so you create your reality because you are the apex of creation. You are the void and the creation. So you need to know that everything that shows up in your reality is of your creating. And so showing up in the reverse is saying you've created a lot of turmoil and chaos, and it is time for you to be still to evaluate this, to evaluate how you created this so that you can get clarity on how to come back out into it to correct it. And I love that because I've been saying all along, if you're experiencing chaos, but you are doing da 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 da, you are contributing to the chaos, right? So what this is saying is you've created the chaos. You've done it. You've created the turmoil. A good thing to do right now would be to pause and retreat so that you can evaluate it, so that you can look at everything that's showing up, every facet of your reality, and recognize how you created it. So that when you come back out into your reality, you can respond to your reality in a way that can actually right those things that have been put out of harmony. So anything that is out of alignment, that is disharmonious, unbalanced, can be corrected. And I like that. So it's about perspective. How did I do this? How have I created this? And the drum, I love the message of the drum because it talks about following that heartbeat of your life. That you are not meant to go against that beat. You are meant to follow that beat, that pulse, become that. And that guides you. And it's the same as frequency and synchronicity. And when you are completely connected, everything guides you because you start to notice things that maybe you haven't noticed before. And so being very connected makes you hyper aware of those guiding forces, the pulse, the current, the frequency, the repeating numbers, the messages, the voice, the call, the pull, that energetic pull to a specific place or person. You get that with clarity, with such clarity. And so the drum speaks of that clarity. So this, like retreating, going back inward to get perspective, will help with that clarity, to connect again with that pulse that maybe you've missed. And howlite is, it says reason, but howlite is a super calming stone. It's often dyed and used as fake turquoise, but howlite is not turquoise, but it is often dyed to be used as that. It's often dyed red to be used as fake coral as well. But howlite has a very different energy than turquoise and coral. It's very calming. This actually helps with sleep as well. But the message of howlite is to declutter the mind, to quiet the ego and declutter the mind. Because when there is chaos in the mind, there is chaos outside of you. And so I'm sure you've all heard the saying, as above, so below, right? But it is the same as within, so without. You are going to be experiencing your own inner landscape outside of yourself. You will be experiencing your own inner landscape outside of yourself. And so that starts with your most intimate environment. How cluttered is your home? Is your home your sanctuary? And it goes down like to the hoarders. Like, hoarders have a huge amount of chaos inside of themselves to create that outside of themselves, that their sanctuary has been completely shit on by things and clutter and trash. And it's the same concept. And we can do that. We can clutter our sanctuary and our reality with people the same way we do with things. It's all energy. And so howlite clears that clutter in the mind so that you can get clarity, the reasons. And it's the same here. Like, go inside, retreat, to get a better perspective to see how this happened. Here's the reason, right? Let's declutter so we can get the reason, but then we can move out, back out, follow that pulse with clarity. So howlite is yet another tool to facilitate that movement. And drum helps quiet your mind too. So if you listen to drum, like I have this beautiful music playing, I do shamanic journeying, and this is completely guided by spirit. I've never been taught to play the drums, but it just naturally happens. My spirit knows this, and this is soul memory, and I can just completely play off of that soul memory because spirit guides me. And that's yet another example of how I say it's not cultural appropriation when someone is fully aligned. This is me accessing soul wisdom. I've never been taught. So you may have been taught by your father, mother, who was taught by their father, mother, who's been taught by their father, mother, etc., etc. And you are like the 20th generation of drum playing in a very specific culture. And here I am, just some nobody white girl from New York, and I can play the drums like your great granddaddy. And that's not cultural appropriation, because it's Sherry playing the drum. It's Sherry's soul playing the drum. And maybe I'm the one that taught your grandpappy. That's all I'm saying. So really, that's ego that wants to say there's a hierarchy, and I don't have that. I just know what my soul guides me to do in my sessions and the work that I do. And I do tend to call upon all of the allies that I have in the human experience. And that's sacred geometry. That's my healing tools, instruments, my feathers here on my altar and stones and the elements, water, wind, fire, earth. I call upon them all because they are me. And when you are completely aligned, you recognize there is nothing outside of you, and there is no such thing as an inanimate object, and there is no such thing as good or bad or he or she or any of that shit that has clouded your intellect and created disharmony and has really ripped us out of unity consciousness. And so this cohesive spread is about being responsible because you are creating it. And the piece de resistance, right? By the way, I'm not French and I'm not appropriating that culture, but I think when I speak that, all understand it, right? So this is the cherry on top. Ponopono, the immeasurable power of the heart way, shows up. And I am an advanced practitioner of Ho'oponopono. And this is an ancient indigenous practice of Hawaii where you are 100% responsible for everything that shows up. If it's showing up in your reality, some part of you created it. And so when it shows up, you have to take responsibility for that. You have to then say, I created this. Some part of me has created this. Some part of me has created this. How can I make this harmonious again? How can I bring this back to zero, back to a place that this didn't exist? How can I erase this data? How can I go back to my original state of love and being? And we do that, one, through taking responsibility for it, but not rejecting it. I love you. I love you. That's how we do that. We love it. I love you. I love you for showing up. And then we show remorse for creating it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the chaos, for the corruption. I'm sorry. And then we ask for repentance. Please forgive me. And then through that forgiveness, we can achieve gratitude for the opportunity that we were just given to harmonize that thing that was out of balance. Thank you. And the reason why so many people have issue with that process is because they equate responsibility with guilt. And that is their shadow that rejects that rejects responsibility. But really, there is nothing outside of you. It is all you. It is all you. So even though I don't have turmoil and chaos that surrounds me, there are still minute parts that show up for me that are not in alignment, like being used by males. So I know that there is still this part of me that finds me unworthy of having consistency. Because they show up, but then dip, and then come back, and then run. And I forgive myself for creating that. I do. I forgive myself for creating that disharmony for myself. I forgive myself for that betrayal, that self-betrayal, that rejection of self. that's the spread for today.